Hi, everyone. My name is Nolan Pratt, and I'm assistant coach here with the Colorado Avalanche for the last 5 years. And my topic today is going to be keys to defending the rush. And before I got into that, I just wanted to thank the coaches site allowing me the opportunity here to present on the Virtual Hockey Summit. I think it's super important for all coaches of all walks of life to share as much information as you can. I think as a coach, you're always trying to learn and get better. And if you're not doing that, then you're probably not doing the right thing. So I encourage everyone to share what they have, whether it's new information or new techniques and or old stuff, just to talk about it. It's a key to development for coaches. So it's a great opportunity here on this summit here to share some of that information. So I'm going to jump right into my topic, keys to defending the rush. And I think when you look at defending the rush from a defenseman's standpoint, a lot of people just think of that traditional rush and you get 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s and 2-on-2s coming at you. One area that we really focus on here with the Avalanche, just move my cursor out of the way there, is being a part of the forecheck. You really have to stress to your defense on how important that is to be a part of the forecheck. And to do that, we talk a lot here about taking 5 hard strides out of your zone and then work into position, whether that's into the neutral zone or all the way into the offensive zone. But you have to do the work, and that starts with 5 hard strides and work into position, and then being active in O-zone play. We encourage our D to be involved. We have a really highly mobile group here in Colorado, so we are very active in the offensive zone. But in today's game, it's so fluid. Everyone skates so well. If you're standing still in hockey today, you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble. So I'll jump into some clips here and talk a little bit about being a part of that forecheck here so you can understand where I'm coming from. So if you watch this first clip, as it develops, it's going to change from D-zone coverage to possession for us. So talking about 5 hard strides and then work into position. If you watch our 2 defense here, I'll circle them for you so you can see. So as soon as that puck turns over and it becomes an offensive attack for us, we're talking to our defense to get up and be involved as quickly as they can. And you'll see in some of these clips how that sets them up to be in a great position offensively, and then, of course, being in a fantastic position defensively if it ever turns over on you. So as soon as it takes off, we should see our D getting ready to take off and be involved. So this guy is actually going to go for a change, but I would love to see this player here start to work to position, and it starts with 5 hard strides. So this is a image of maybe what you don't want it to look like, but as this puck turns over, you've seen all of Anaheim's players come back into the picture. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys, and there's a 5th here just off of the screen. So what I would love to see as a coach is seeing your D getting all the way up into position here. We should see a D in the spot here, and then this D working inside the ice there and protecting the inside of the ice. But because we haven't worked to position, we've left so much of the neutral zone area open. Okay, there's basically 3/4 of that neutral zone for the attack to come at us. So standing outside, standing flat-footed, it sets yourself up to be flat, whether it's an offensive attack or chipped in, and it leaves you defending again. So show you another one here, the difference between working to position and driving your feet as compared to that first clip. So again, you're going to see 2 defensemen turn the puck over, and that play is going to start working its way up the ice. Okay, dumped in, so now we're on the offensive attack, but now you can see our defense in the picture right away. He's going to come in and work in that dot line, and he's anticipating this puck coming around the boards. But rather than just skating up to the blue line and standing still, he's active. He's going to work all the way to the tops of the circles and make his read from there, which sets him up to be a part of the O-zone forecheck, which is key to our success, but it's also key to defense, especially young defense, working to position and setting themselves up to be involved offensively, but not and as well defensively. And with that said, as he's pinching down, you'll see our forward, our F3, come into the picture here. It's important that they obviously know where everyone is on the ice. So you're not pinching down there without that support. But that, to me, is the first area of defending the rush for us, even though it's an offensive attack. You'll see our D again. Heavy forecheck coming from our forwards. Puck is going to work around. Our F1 and F2 are on the press. And you'll see our D that's worked all the way to the position there. So he can pinch down and keep the attack alive. We've also got our F3 support in an area there. We turn this puck over and keep it alive on the offensive zone. So first area, 5 hard strides, working to position, setting yourself up, setting your team up for some success. O-zone forecheck coming again. This one's going to come off the glass. We set ourselves up, pretty good gap there, which is going to lead to transition for us. Spread it D to D, and we're going to go back in and on the attack again. So F1 and F2 are hunting. And you'll watch our D, and not much happens in this video clip here, but I just wanted you to get a look at where our D works too. They're not just coming to the tops of the blue line and standing still and watching. They're coming up and being involved. And to me, it's imperative for defensemen to get up into that ice there, set a gap, and get ready to back off of that if the forecheck isn't there for you or you're not pinching. And then obviously making a read as to where their forwards are in this play. But again, that sets you up to be in a real good spot defensively if anything breaks down for you. Extreme version here for you. Puck is dumped in. Goalie's going to play it, and I think everyone here in the building was anticipating this coming around the wall. They slip it into the middle of the ice, but if you look at where our defense get to, again, setting themselves up to defend that rush. So by the time that hits the blue line, we're actually already playing that rush versus backing off and allowing that attack to come to you. And again, a little bit of an extreme version, almost gets himself caught, but we know that we have the support. This D's worked all the way in to defend that rush, and then we can close that down right away. And to me, what that leads to is transition and possession for your team. And final clip here, a little bit of offensive zone play, very similar to what you saw there with some of those clips. Our D are active, getting ready to pinch down the walls as long as they know that they have support. So again, killing that rush before it even starts is something that we're looking to do. So we pinch down once with support. You watch our forwards hound this puck a little bit. It's going to work back over the other side. We're working from the inside out, denying that rush and closing it down. Going to stay and hunt this puck for a little bit. We pinch down one more time, and you can see our D who's active in there. Now, obviously, you have to decide as a coach how comfortable you are with that aggression and the style of play that we use here. We do encourage our D to be involved as long as we know we have that F3 and backtracking support from our forwards. We allow our D to be very aggressive on the walls when the opportunity is there for them. But to me, as I said before, it's an important skill to set yourself up defensively. You're defending that rush even though it's part of the offensive zone. So we close that down one more time. And this one's going to work back out of the zone. And you can see where our D are sitting right on top of that rush coverage, which allows us to turn that puck over and transition one more time and go on the offensive zone attack. So first skill that we talk about, that O-zone forecheck, making sure that you're a part of it. Your D will accept whatever you are willing to accept as a coach. So if it's not something that you stress and not something that you constantly work on, we do a lot of it in practice here with all of our drills, but always pushing our D to make sure that they're up the ice and a part of that forecheck, which sets them up offensively, but then at the same time setting you up to be successful defending the rush. So next area, now again, these are all tied together, but this one here, when the rush attack is actually leaving the zone, we really hammer home the details on this for our D. And again, constantly working on it in practice. But we talk a lot about the dots, gaps, and then using your sticks. And you'll see in some of these videos coming up, dots just means working on the interior of the ice, working into the face-off dot line, setting that gap, and then using your stick to influence the play and even dictate the play to a certain extent. And when you watch some of these clips, all tied together with that offensive zone forecheck that you just saw. But if you watch our D, so rather than just stepping back and backpedaling right away, we encourage our D to take their ice and set their gap as quickly as they can and as tight as they possibly can. You obviously have to know who you're playing against and their speed. That's something that players learn as they go through it, identifying certain players on the ice. But if you will watch our D in all of these clips, they're going to pop inside the ice there, set the best cap that they can, and try to defend that rush. So by the time they're hitting the blue line, we want to be defending that rush there. And certainly if it makes it to the red line, we're looking to force a dump and try to create some transition. So real good job by these two here, setting a tight gap, which of course leads to possession for us. Offensive zone attack here. You'll watch our D. So working across, wouldn't mind seeing them a little bit tighter, right? But getting ready to set a gap. The dots is popping inside the dots there with our D, taking as much ice as they can. So we work to the interior of the ice. In the NHL, the inside of the ice is speed for a lot of teams. So if we can take that away from them and influence them to the outside, protect the interior of the ice, it's going to set us up for success. But if you watch this player here, Gerard, he's going to work back into the interior of the ice. He's got to stick in a position, always stick on puck, forces a turnover. And again, we go back to collect that puck and force an icing. 2-on-2, getting ready to leave the zone. Again, dots, gaps, and sticks. You watch the possession, working into the interior of the ice rather than retreating right away, which allows us to set a gap. We're actually taking ice forward here and setting our gap as that possession is coming for Dallas there, which again sets us up to be in a real nice spot. Forces a chip. We turn and collect another puck. Watch as that shot is taken from this defenseman here. Offensive zone play. Puck's going to bounce around a little bit. So he just doesn't stand still. He starts creeping in. And again, popping inside the dots. And I'm talking a lot about dots, but when I refer to that, it's the face-off dots. And you'll see this picture here. So face-off dot, face-off dot. We want our D to work into that interior of the ice, protect the middle. Again, gather whatever ice you can. You can see them both working to protect the inside. Forces a early turnover, come into the zone. And it's not super pretty down in there, but ultimately not allowing that rush to develop in front of you creates possession for you. And we eventually kick this puck around and transition the other way. And lastly here, just the importance of stick. And this is a bit of a broken play here. It's 4-on-4 hockey, but if you watch, protecting the inside of the ice, we're going to force that player to the outside with our body position and our stick position, allowing them and dictating where we want that play to go. So sticks protecting the inside. We're going to flip again. Stick, protect the inside of the ice, protect the goalie. Okay, and as he turns up, you'll watch how quickly we flip our stick and get stick on puck, which creates transition and an opportunity to go the other way. So stick on the ice is a pretty basic skill, and stick on puck is something I think you hear everyone talk about all the time, but it is really important for young defensemen, especially as they develop, to use their stick accordingly and always using that stick to defend and using your body when you have the opportunity. But a great job there on how to defend with your stick. Again, sends us off going the other way. So again, keep in mind that all of these topics are tied together. I've kind of broken them down into areas that I feel are crucial for defensemen and defending. So you saw the ozone attack, and then the rush attack there with setting your dots and gaps. And then real important skill for defense, and probably one of the harder ones, is just identifying the rush that's coming at you. And when I'm referring to that, always talking about counting the numbers as a defenseman. Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is there a 4th guy coming in the attack? So you have to know what's coming at you, and you have to communicate that. And when you do those things all collectively, I do believe it gives your defense an opportunity to influence the rush and sort of dictate the play to a certain extent. When you don't have possession, you can push players into certain areas of the ice and get them to go where you want them to go, just on basic body position and stick position. So when you watch some of these plays, identifying the rush as quickly as you can is a real great skill for defensemen here. This puck turns over, and right away we're working to the interior of the ice, but we identify as quickly as we can that it's 1 and maybe 2 guys coming on 4. So we're willing to work from the inside out, stick on puck, turn it over, which sets us up to collect this and go the other way. Offensive zone play here a little bit. Ready to pinch down on the wall, making sure no one's leaving without us. You can see how active our D are in this offensive zone. They're in, getting ready to pinch. We work back out, covering this forward if he's getting ready to leave. And then as that puck turns over, as stated before, identifying what's coming at you. This player here is making a read that it's just 1 player coming out of the zone potentially, maybe a second as he's getting ready to leave. But rather than surrendering that ice, we're aggressive with it. We lead with our stick on the puck there, and we get ready to close that play out. We close it out before it even hits the red line, which is something that we're always looking to do here in Colorado. We don't typically cross our partner in our defense rush scenarios, but I think identifying here that it's a one-man attack allows us to stand up and close it down. So again, working from the interior, stick on puck, all the things that we talk about on our team leads us to transition. Again, one more look at it, being aggressive and working across. We talk a lot of times, I hear people talk about surfing across this ice here and setting a gap. So we'll work across and then set our feet backwards here when we have to. But again, the identification is the key here to shutting down that attack. You could easily retreat and just set a gap and allow that rush to come at you, but it doesn't set you up for success and turning pucks over and getting to play in the offensive zone, which everyone wants to do. So we do a great job shutting that one down, forcing it back in. Probably one of my favorite. You can tie it all together here with everything, but we're going to pop into the dots. We've popped inside the ice. We're going to take away the interior of the ice from Los Angeles Kings here. You can see our stick possessions work to the inside. We've identified that it's just a two-man attack and we have support coming. So by working to the interior with your stick position, our defenseman here gets this player to go exactly where he wants him to go. And then he's going to turn and close that play as quickly as he can. And if you watch his stick, he's constantly taking away ice and then forcing him into a position that he can get ready to close him down. So we get over there, squeeze it down, close it down. Tracking comes back. Our forwards are back for support and leads us to an opportunity to close that play down and go the other way. So great job there, protecting the interior and using your stick to influence the play by our defenseman. Coming out of the offensive zone, identifying what's coming at you. So we have 2D here. We've made a read that we have real good support from our forward. So as that gets kicked out, RD makes the read that he can take that stand as we have that support through the middle of the ice. So we're going to shift over and close that play out, allowing us an opportunity to collect that puck and go the other way. Another look at it here with our defense. You can see us work into the tops of the circles. So encouraging them to work into the tops of that circles and then ready to back out of that zone to the blue line there so that you are available for offense as well. You don't want to be standing in too tight if you're looking to get a pass to the blue line. But from a defensive standpoint, we'd like to see him get ready to back out here and support that puck, offensively, if that opportunity is there for him. And as this play breaks down, you're going to see, again, we make the read that we have this pressure coming. So identifying what's coming at you, you'll see our D who's popped into the dot line and set a gap, doing the same thing on the weak side. So as that pressure comes, there's communication. There's a read as to what else is coming at him, identifying that. We slide into the interior of the ice, protect the interior of the ice. We collect that puck. And then it's a little transition using the middle of the ice to go the other way again. One more look at a rush coverage here, identifying what's happening and the communication that goes along with it. But our first forward backs picked up the weak side of the ice. So that's going to allow our 2D to shift over and defend this as tight as they can. And ultimately, when you get to that spot there, if we're giving up that shot on the ice because we've shifted over, we're protecting the interior, that's the shot that we would like to give up as a team if we're giving up anything from the least dangerous area of the ice. So a real good job identifying that we've picked up the weak side. So our D are allowed to shift over there and close that down as best as they can. And another area here, just tying this all together here. So you've seen sort of the offensive zone attack. You've seen your standard 3-on-2s and 2-on-2s where the attack's coming out of the zone, a traditional rush. But an area that we talk a lot, and I certainly talk to our defense a lot about, is the ability to read through the rush. And when I'm talking about that, it's seeing the next layer of the attack coming at you. And so you're constantly asking your D to survey the rush, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, and then making a read as to where their back-checking support is, and not getting too puck focused on an individual player. So when you read through it, you're looking to the next layer, constantly surveying. Don't get too puck focused with it. You have to find that next layer of the attack, whether it's a late defenseman joining. And then certainly communication is vital for defensemen. You have to be able to talk to your forwards. You got to be able to talk to your partner as the play is developing and making sure that you guys know where everybody is on the ice. So when you watch through these clips here, the first clip I have, I think the first two are sort of maybe more of not what to do when you're looking at it. But it'll give you an idea of sort of what I'm talking about and what I'm looking for when we're talking to our D here in Colorado. So as this play develops, you'll see it turn over. So right away, again, trying to work and take as much ice as you can, take and work as much ice as you can, popping inside the ice there. But by setting that gap right away, it's my belief that this play could be shut down with just the two guys coming at you right away. But our D have decided to back off of this for whatever reason in this instance. And you can just see, you'll see a Vegas player who's getting ready to join here late. So by setting a loose gap, what you've done, you've allowed this play to develop and you've allowed this player to be a part of it now, where I think if we were tighter, we could close that down. And if we've made the decision to allow these players to push that puck carrier, then we should be sliding in and protecting the inside of the ice. But what's vital when I'm talking about reading through the rush here, when they focus in on this defenseman here, to me, he looks like he's only looking at one and two guys, and it's his job to look beyond and see what's coming next. So that's the term, reading through the rush. So if we've decided that we're laying off of it with our strong side D, we should be looking and seeing if we can find this late player here. If we made this decision in this instance, and by not looking and reading through that rush, it sets yourself up to be in a spot where you're surprised and a scoring chance against. So that's the terminology that we use here and what I'm looking for when I'm talking about these plays. Again, so loose gap coming off of a turnover, which sets you up to be in a poor position initially. And if you watch, so should be working to the interior of the ice to defend this, but we are beginning to fade to the outside. And we have a loose gap, which is going to set you up to be in a real tough spot. And on top of it, I don't see the communication that I'd like to see from our defense in this scenario. Whether we're going to send him to pick up the weak side or he's going to push this puck to come to the strong side, you don't see this happening. So by the time you hit the blue line with that loose gap, we're fading to the outside, okay? There is no communication and direction as to where we want our support to go. And when you get into this area here, you look at this spot here, you could pretty much drive a truck through that area. So the strong gap would have potentially allowed that to shut down or to shut that play down earlier in the zone from our defense. And then the communication certainly would have allowed us to slide to the inside and maybe protect this and allow this player to pick up the late guy, or directing our forward to the weak side of the ice there and allowing him to take care of that play. So there's a multitude of options, but the communication breakdown is what leads to two guys going to one, and not identifying what's coming at you as a defenseman and communicating to your back checkers leaves you surprised and a scoring chance against. So certainly things that we talk about in areas that we strive to get better at every day with the drills that we run in practice and constantly through video and teaching, but it's an important aspect to a defenseman's role with the team. Puck comes in, we're going to pop into the dots, as you've heard me say probably too many times already. We're going to identify what's coming at us. So right away, same player, you can see him pointing and directing. They make a decision that we're going to pick up the weak side of the ice, which is going to allow us to shift over on this play. So very similar to the one that you just saw. We shift over, get some pressure, we shift over in between, and we allow our forward to pick up the weak side of the ice. So the communication, reading through it, sets you up for a shot that is probably a nothing shot in that instance. Okay, this is a 4-on-2, and we're a little loose with our gaps, but at a 4-on-2, we're buying as much time as we possibly can. Our D have made the read that there's a number of guys coming at them, so you can't stand up on this play. So we're going to squeeze into the interior of the ice and buy as much time as we can. And we're looking and checking off. We know they have weak side options. This one here, we're protecting the interior of the ice as long as we can. And then we allows us to buy some time to get some back checking support. I would love to see him just work a little bit more in between here. But importantly, we've made the read that we have to protect the interior of the ice and buy as much time as we can. And eventually we break off of that and get our stick on puck and get a little block on that play there. Pressure from our D from the inside. Okay, we've made a read that he's not a part of it. But as I said before, just reading through that rush, we try to strike on it and it doesn't quite happen for you. We've checked our shoulder. We know that there's more players coming, so we're going to work back into the interior of the ice. I think we're aware that our back check support is coming. So we're going to protect the inside of the ice, We're going to allow this pressure to come. So you watch this defenseman constantly surveying the ice. I've seen him check his shoulder 3 or 4 times in this clip now, and he's going to allow that pressure to come and use his stick on puck to defend that puck. So real good job of the awareness and surveying what's coming at him. A couple more clips of some similar scenarios for you. You can see our D who's kind of surfed in here, and he's going to set a gap. He's now realized that, whoa, there's more guys coming at him than he initially thought. So he's going to back out of that, get his feet turned around, and then they identify that they can shift over and close that with some back pressure support. Stick on puck always, and then stick on puck again, which is vital to defending the rush. Turned over puck. We've tracked to the weak side. We've identified what's coming at us here. We've read through it. You've seen them checking off to see what's there. So we're going to turn and close. And we know that we've picked up that weak side of the ice there. So reading through it, identifying it, allows you to be aggressive when you have an opportunity, which forces a turnover into the interior of the ice. So those are some video clips, certainly some things that we teach here and talk about. I've included a couple slides here of some drills that we use in practice. We use more than one of these a day typically, and if not, changing them up as much as we can to keep them fresh for our defense. But one of our ones that we use quite a bit here, if you watch this, this slide, 3-on-2s and 3-on-3s with a tracker or a back checker if you want to refer to it. But you'll put a coach in the middle of the ice here, and he's got a puck with him. These forwards you can see on the sideboards, they're going to take off and they're going to come underneath this coach. He's going to spit him a puck. This last forward is going to come off here. So what you end up with is a 3-on-2 attack. In your defense, you can adjust and place them wherever you want on the ice. You can start them at the red line. You can start them on the wall. We typically start them on the wall when we're beginning a season. We get our D into the habit of working and popping inside those dots and setting a gap. So that play will work itself all the way down the ice. And then when you want to, you can add, you watch on this little clip here, you can add that tracker support. And so our D have to identify, is it a 3-on-2? Is it a 3-on-3? What's coming at them, and can they stand up on those plays? And then if you want to, you can put your forwards down on the other end here, or whichever end, and get them to mill around wherever you want, and put your back checker in the middle of the ice. Start your D. You can start them on the wall. You can start them in the interior. But that gives you a rush that is different every time. So these guys will mill in that zone. And then when they take off, it's a live rush. Our D have to, again, identify what's coming at them, whether or not they have support from their forwards. Another one that we use quite often is this Phoenix 2-on-2 and 3-on-2. D will start in the interior of the ice. On the whistle, 2 forwards tag underneath the coach and get ready to attack full ice 2-on-2. Now you can, as a coach, you can stand on the side here and you can send 2 or 3 guys. And again, that puts your D in a position where they have to identify what's coming at them. Is it 2 guys? Is it 3 guys? And once in a while, we'll just throw a 1-man forecheck in there, which makes a little bit of a difference. And then as soon as that play is dead, they're going to defend that rush all the way down to this goal line. Whistle will go, and these 2 forwards are going to take off. So it's a bit of a longer attack, but then that's going to force your D to get all the way up the ice, and defend it. So it goes back to the 5 hard strides and work into position and then protecting the interior of the ice. So it's a great drill that you can mix up 2-on-2 and 3-on-2. The final one that I slipped in here, we call gap up, seal out. Pretty simple drill. 2 forwards on the whistle will take off to the net. They've thrown a puck that goes low to high. It's going to go D to D for a shot. These 2 forwards are going to head to the net, look for the rebound. And then on that whistle again, they're going to re-attack. They're taking off to get a puck from the coach on the side here. And then it's a full ice 3-on-2 down the ice. So at any time that coach blows the whistle, these forwards that are attacking got to regroup with the coach down in here. And that's going to force your D to set their gaps again. They're going to have to work all the way back the ice and set the gap and do a bunch of those things that we talked about through all those video clips that I showed you. And then lastly here, it's my belief that a strong defensive gap leads to transition and offense. And then obviously confidence comes along with that. So you can't give that to your players. They have to work through it and learn to find what works for them on the gap side of things and identifying what they can and can't do and what they can and can't get away with. But when your team and your defense are setting a strong gap, more often than not, you're going to close plays down in the neutral zone, potentially even in the offensive zone, which leads to possession and transition and allows you the opportunity to go and create offense, and certainly creates confidence for our defense. And then even within our team, when we start doing that and we're closing teams down in the neutral zone, our team plays with a lot more confidence. So I'll leave you with that. I thank you for giving me the opportunity. I thank you for taking the time to listen, and hopefully I gave you something to think about and work on with your defense. Thank you.